Welcome back, little monkey fans. Today we're going way up to the treetop toy box for a Playmobil Knights review. We have the Hawk Knights with Camouflage Wagon, set 6005, and we have the Playmobil Knights set 6038, which is the Hawk Knights battle station, and it even comes with a super cool battle cannon that really shoots. Well, let's open them up and check them out. First, let's start with our Hawk Knights Camouflage Wagon. This set is absolutely fantastic. We have this super cool wagon on here being pulled by a cow, and the wheels are really, really good. They roll very, very well all on their own. And if we turn the wagon to the side, you can see that there's a little snap up here, and we've got a little rake that's stored in there, so you could have other accessories there as well. When we spin it around back, we've got an extra little hook at the bottom, and we have a little bucket of water. I think it's fantastic that it looks like it has real water in it. It's kind of shimmery and blue. And then if we turn it around the other side, we've got another spot on this side to snap in some tools. So we can snap that off, and this looks like a little sickle that the farmers would use to cut down the grass in their fields. Fantastic. And then up front we have our cow who is pulling our hay wagon, and this hitch will undo from the cow and we can pop him off, and his whole harness will lift off. He actually looks kind of fierce from the front with his harness up over his horns, but those will lift off. And then you could take the full harness off to use the cow all on its own if you would like. And next, we have our driver. And here's our driver. He looks like an ordinary farmer, or maybe he's one of the knights in camouflage, but he's certainly dressed like a local farmer. And his accessory is a great big whip. So we can snap that out of his hand. And there are two spots, one on each side of the wagon, on this side and then around back as well, where his whip can be stored. So let's take a look at our farmer. He's got a fairly plain hat on, and if we pop that off, you can see he's got a big bushy beard, and he looks like he might be a little down on his luck. He's got some not so fancy clothing. A lot of it looks kind of shredded on the sides, and then he's got some laces up the front. And then he has some cool gray boots that look like they're laced up as well. And there's our farmer. And beside our farmer on the second seat is an extra little sack. Next, if we take a look at our haystack, looks like there's a bunch of little holes in the hay here on both sides, and if we lift it off, there are our Hawk Knights hiding out in the camouflage haystack. So fantastic. Let's take a look at our first knight. These guys are fully decked out for battle. They have so many different accessories and armor. This fellow's got the Hawk Knight emblem on his shield, and that of course will pop out of his hand. He's got a utility belt here that has a black dagger inside. He's got armor along his cuffs, up along his shoulders, and then up around his neck as well. And they've got their long tunic hanging out below. I love the pattern on his front uniform here. And then around back, he's got double swords ready to go. And in his hand, it looks like he's carrying a pretty wicked mace. It's got all these little spikes on it. We can pop that out of his hand as well. He's got a front face mask on his helmet, and we can pop that off and see he's even got full armor on his head as well. And then the cool thing about his upper armor here is it actually is giving him a bit of face protection. So if you turn his head to the side a bit, you can see his mouth underneath that front faceplate of his armor. So cool. Let's take a look at our next knight. This knight has a super long shield, and again, it has the hawk emblem on it. So we can pop that off. And he is fully decked out in a ton of armor as well, and a whole bunch of different types of weaponry. So he's got his utility belt on, and he's got a long sword in there. And there's his sword. I love the triangular detail on there. So cool. This knight also has a lot of armor going on his chest, and this one actually has the Hawk Knight colors of black and red, and he has a slightly smaller faceplate protector. So when you turn, you can see a little bit more of his face over top of that peak. And then again, he's got a bunch of armor along his cuffs and then up on his shoulders. He's got a quiver on back with a bunch of black arrows ready to go. And then of course he is holding his bow. He doesn't have the full face mask for his helmet, but it looks pretty fierce. And we can pop that off and see his hair underneath. Let's get our knights loaded up and ready for battle. Next we have our Hawk Knight battle station. Let's take a look at our little wagon first. So it comes with rolling wheels, which work very well, and some handles that some of the knights could push along to carry along their extra ammunition. Looks like they probably have a barrel full of gunpowder for the cannon, and then we've got the extra little fireball to load up into the cannon. They've got the Hawk's Knight Castle flag, and there is a little torch around side. They would have used this to light the cannon. So that just snaps into some front clips on the front, and they would have to use this flag to mark their territory as they work along and battle through the fields. And that just snaps right on. Next we have one of our first knights, and he's got a really long shield on with the Hawk's emblem on the front. And this knight has a bow in front, and he's got his arm protector here. He does have a bunch of different armor on, but mostly on the upper part of his body here. He has a little bit of a different armor plate on the front. And then he has his quiver and red arrows on his utility belt around back. And again, he's got an upper faceplate armor covering part of his mouth. We can pop off his helmet, and you can see he's got a little bit of ginger hair under there. Our second knight that came with the set has a round hawk shield. We'll pop that off. And this one is completely decked out in his armor. He's got a fantastic black sword on his utility belt. He's got some pretty fierce looking boots here that have a little bit of armor up around his knees. He has a red and silver armor plate on his chest. He's got full armor up both of his arms. He's got his cape around back. And then look at his helmet. He has a front guard that will flip up and down, and he has a fantastic hawk on top of his helmet, and it looks like it's quite feathery. Pretty impressive. If we flip up the face armor, you can see that this fellow's got big bushy beard and a black mustache, and he looks pretty serious under there. Some serious looking eyebrows. He is ready for battle. And finally, let's check out our battle cannon. It is fantastic. It rolls on all of its wheels, and it looks like it's made out of wood. We've got an upper guard plate here that is actually storing a third Hawk Knight shield and 2 battle axes. It's so cool. And this back plate will actually lift all the way up, which will allow the cannon to be raised to its full extension and then can be back down again. And if we turn it all the way around, there is a little button back here that allows you to release the fireball out front. Let's see what it does. Whoa, that shoots pretty good. And then there's a little spot here where it can be reloaded again into the front part of the cannon. And there's our Hawk Knight battle station.
Thanks for watching. To join all the fun up in our treetop, please subscribe to Little Monkey Media's channel. Don't forget, if you like our video, please share it and click like. We go bananas for toys!